What I'm going to show is that in reality, the focus on adaptation, resources devoted to adaptation, are a way to reduce deficits and debts and not increase it. It may sound paradoxical or quite provoking, but in reality, numbers show that this is the case. So the old climate change dilemma is the one which is described in this slide. A few years ago, we thought that costs for mitigation adaptation policies are high. Benefits may be larger but far in the future, and governments and regions have other priorities. There is unemployment, growth which is not sufficient, competitiveness which must be stimulated. So there are other targets, other objectives, and climate change is always lagging behind. Can public resources be used to address climate change even in countries with high deficit, high debt? Where do resources come from? Now the situation has changed. First of all, impacts of climate change are no longer far in the future. So benefits from avoiding climate change are no longer far in the future. Benefits are here today because impacts are getting larger and larger even in the short term. We have flooding, we have droughts, we have problems in agriculture, new viruses. We have plenty of impacts today. Climate change is no longer a problem of future generation. It's a problem of present generation of our societies. Mitigation is certainly an important tool. We reduce emissions, but the impact on temperature of these lower emission today is going to happen very far in the future. So it's important to do it now, but it's not going to provide benefits in the coming years or not even the coming decades. So we are left with adaptation. Adaptation is the measure to face short-term risks, short-term impacts of climate change. And benefits of adaptation can be large. So the perspective, the economic perspective is different. Now we are dealing with a problem which is today's problem, and with benefits that we can get today. So in terms of size of the problem, this slide just shows what happens in terms of floodings and risks from disasters. What we spend today on average is something between 2.5 and 10 billion euros. The expectation is that this number is going to increase in the coming years, and it's likely to be 14 billion euros for events that are rare, events that take place 1 over 100 years. Events that are even more difficult to observe once over 250 years are going to cost about 9 billion euros, and the cost is going to increase quickly in the coming years. For one simple reason, climate change implies that these events are more frequent. Rather than occurring once every 100 years, it will occur every 20 or even once every 10 years. So the cost for public finances of fixing the implication of these events or taking care of the impacts of these events is really large. Intervening before these events take place, intervening to adapt to climate change is probably an economically viable and safe strategy. What we do is to assess this statement and identify two possible benefits from climate adaptation policy. The first one is the one that I just mentioned. So you avoid damages, you prevent damages from occurring. So what you spend now is less from what you would spend in the future because of the damages. And you save money, in particular from flooding, droughts, hydrogeological disasters, all these things that we well know in Italy because we have been affected quite a lot by this kind of impacts in recent years. The second aspect is the so-called multiplier effect. This is the kind of public expenditure that our Prime Minister likes a lot. You spend a lot on infrastructure, you spend a lot on stimulating the economy, because when you spend on adaptation, you increase public expenditure, GDP increases, GDP leads to more revenues from taxation, and you get sort of virtuous circles for public finances. Is it going to work? Of course, yes, even because you get a twofold benefits. On the one hand, you spend less. On the other hand, you get more from public finances, and also you spend on something which is more useful, say, than a bridge between Calabria and Sicilia, because this kind of expenditure avoids damages. So it's so if you want a twofold benefit in terms of avoiding damages and in terms of stimulating the economy. In terms of economic calculation, the whole thing is quite easy. So I would rather call for more attention to this kind of analysis. Let me show, just to conclude, some numbers. We did this kind of analysis for flooding, risk from flooding and impacts from flooding in Italy and in the European Union, for some countries of the European Union. And these are the numbers. I don't have the time to go into a detailed presentation of this kind of study, but what we can see here is that at the beginning, of course, expenditure increases, and of course the deficit increases because you spend in adaptation. But very soon, after a few years, what you save from the body damages and what you get in addition for the stimulation of into the economy and the revenue that you can raise from the increased GDP offset the initial expenditure, and deficit, in particular deficit over GDP ratio, is going to be reduced. This is the case, as you can see, for all these countries. These are France, Italy, Greece, Portugal, and the rest of the European Union. And we use these countries because, as you know, these are high deficit countries. And you can see that for all these countries, you get this beneficial effect of expenditure and adaptation, taking into account the avoided damages from climate change. And given that these are the size of damages estimated for other regions of the world, I mean, you can see that in Africa, in China, in Latin America, damages, or in sub-Saharan Africa, damages of climate change can be huge. What we observe in Europe is really nothing with respect to what is going to happen in sub-Saharan Africa. Then this kind of investments in adaptation can provide larger benefits, not just in our own regions, but in all regions of the world. I think I can stop here, and I thank you all